So I'm going to share with you some of my lessons learned from growing carrots for the first time. I planted carrot seeds in early June and I made several mistakes, but I did a few things right, and I'm going to tell you right and wrong, so hopefully you won't make the same mistakes I did. So one thing I did right is I planted them in very loose soil and put sand in with it, and I did that in pots. So that's another thing I did right. So I did them in large pots, and they did really well there. And they apparently, it's not always easy to germinate seeds in the ground, but I had a very high germination rate in this really good soil in the pots. So then I gave them plenty of water. And Eric always says I overwater plants and love them too much, which is perfectly true. But the carrots soaked up all the water; they loved it. And so those are some things I did right with the carrots. Some things I did wrong, where I didn't give them enough sun. So I had read that carrots were shade tolerant. Well, I did not find that to be true in my experience. But because I had them in the pots, I was able to move the pots to a sunnier spot. So that I was able to remedy my mistake. I also fertilized, something else I didn't do right is I fertilized the carrots too much in the middle of the growing cycle. And they do not like that. So the tops grew, but the bottoms didn't. Another thing I did wrong was I didn't put enough soil in my containers. So then the seeds were growing like 9 inches down, and they would get even more shade because they weren't at the top of the container. So that's another thing I did wrong. So ultimately I ended up with 5 months of waiting on something that should have taken about 3 months. And I got most of my carrots were pretty small, a few were decent size, which you'll see in the next segment of the video. But hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and a few of my successes. I planted these carrot seeds about 60 days ago, and they are growing, but I made some mistakes along the way that I'm going to share with you all. But this is just a spot check at about 60 days to see how they're growing, and I'm pretty happy with how the tops are growing lately. You can see these are sitting out on the driveway by the garage. That's because I needed more sun than when I had them originally. Where I had them originally, they were only getting a few hours of sunlight a day, and I realized after a few weeks that they just stopped growing. And that might be an epic fail on my part. It's the first time I ever tried to grow carrots. So I moved them eventually to a sunnier spot, but that may have delayed their development. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to get out of here yet, how good the carrots will be. I haven't seen any sign of actual carrots yet, just that the tops have started growing again, which I'd take as a positive sign. And by the way, I had these old garden center tubs from buying a tree or a shrub, and I was in a hurry the day I planted the seeds, so I just grabbed them and stuck the seeds in there. And after a little while, Eric said, well, those are kind of unattractive. And so what we did was we had some paint left over from another project, and I just sort of put some painter's tape around these top and bottom, and then painted them with this paint. I kind of cleaned them first, made sure they weren't dirty, and it has worked out really well. So we got that paint for like a rubber and plastic, and so far so good. It's turned them into more attractive things, so that I don't mind them sitting out in view and near our driveway. So that was a plus, and that was an easy little weekend project with, I think, 2 coats of paint. So little tip for you there. And anyway, I'll check back in on the carrots a little later. They're so little. Little babies. Very stunted. Alright, we're going for it. This didn't produce a root much at all, just produce a plant much at all, just roots. User error. That's probably the best one so far. There's a white one. Red one, baby red one. These are rainbow. Nub. The red one. Wow, there's a good one. Decent. Yeah, that's more like it. Not bad. And then there's this. Right next to it. Who knows why? And the white one. These didn't grow. Little red one and a little white one. And these are the orange ones, traditional. Little baby one there. Little babies. That's really baby. Let's see if I can find a big one. Bigger. That's not bad. Few. Two decent size. Not big, but decent size.